listen, I do want to bring some names to the table here because you brought up like money coming back, right? Money coming back for the Canucks. So I wanted to look at a few different contracts that could be options for that, whether it be for Brock Boeser, whether it be for Bo Horvat, because we talked about it with Harm on Friday. I did. You were feet up in the air, drinking hot cocoa. So what we were doing, what we were working on Friday quads, which is the thing that you don't know much about. We were talking about like the residual returns from making a trade and having cap space. That's why I'm talking about, if you're taking money back, which a lot of teams are going to have to do to make a move for Brock Boeser, you need to get a boosted return with the picks. That's why I'm saying you don't get. So I'll bring up a name like Patrick Hornquist with Florida. You don't get a third in Patrick Hornquist for Brock Boeser because that is a huge upgrade for a team to get Brock Boeser in that situation for only $1 million more. So Patrick Hornquist is the first name I want to bring up because Florida, I think, is in a spot where they want to add, right? They want to add before the playoffs, but they look at Hornquist, who has 1 goal and 2 assists in 22 games. He's averaging 9 minutes and 16 seconds of ice time, and he's got $5.3 million on the final year of his deal with a modified no trade of an 8-team list. So would the Canucks potentially be on that list? I don't know. Like the Canucks might be on a lot of players as 8-team lists. The way that they run, the way that agents maybe look
a lot of players just cross off Canada.
Yeah, that's true too. And I don't know about Hornquist if he's in that type of situation. So this is just an option, but at $5.3 million on the final year of his deal, he's an option to look at because that basically, if you were to do that for Horvat, that's money in, money out, almost the same, $200K difference, right? So you're getting a massive return. But that's the other thing, that if the Canucks are going to have to move with money coming back, the value needs to be even bigger. Like if you're moving Horvat for Hornquist, I think you're looking at a first, a second, a prospect, and something else. Like that is the type of return. If you're taking money back on a Horvat deal, you are looking for a first, second, good prospect, and something else. That's what you should be. That's what the return should be if you're taking like $3 to $5 million back. So because that takes away your opportunity to use the cap space in the Horvat deal. So you need to think about that with the trade. You need to think about what you can do with the cap space being part of the deal as well. Because if you're taking back money, that has value in its own right. Like what would Florida pay just to get off a Hornquist right now, who's got 3 points in 22 games? They would have to pay a good, pretty penny to get off of that $5.3 million.
Yep.
So that needs to be in consideration if you're taking money back in one of these big deals. But that's why I think it makes so much sense for that. Another option, Josh Bailey. He's a different one because he's got 2 years. He's got this year and next year left, but he's making $5 million. And this is the thing that you're supposed to do with these type of players that maybe you don't have 100% confidence in when you make these deals, is the final 2 years of his contract, only $3.5 million total salary. He has no trade protection. So Josh Bailey, if the Islanders want to make any bit of a push, or if we hear these rumors about Horvat to the Islanders, or you start to hear the Islanders looking to add some scoring like Brock Boeser, getting a chance to play with Matt Barzal, who all he does is assists on goal anyways, that would be a nice little mix there. Josh Bailey has no trade protection, $5 million this year and next. But like I said, only the 3.5 total salary owed per season. If you're taking that $5 million for this year and next, you need to ask for a ton of picks because you're taking that money while giving them a player of value for their top 6. Like the trade should be massive. Anybody that's thinking like it's going to be like Josh Bailey and a 2nd round pick for Brock Boeser, no chance. No chance it's that.
Maybe not Josh Bailey, but Patrick Hornquist for a second? Patrick Hornquist in a second for Brock Boeser? Yeah.
No, you need more than that.
You might think so. I don't know.
You need more than that, taking 5.3. If you're the Florida Panthers and you can upgrade Hornquist to Boeser with only $1.5 million going more to your cap.
I think you're discounting how Boeser is viewed around the league and how his trade value currently is with how he's played.
No.
And I don't know.
Teams would love to add Brock Boeser to their top 6. Good teams would like to add Brock Boeser to their top 6.
A lot of the conversations I've had.
Do you think Boeser is going to want to have that fresh start somewhere and play the best hockey of his career?
I think he's going to. Sure. I think he's going to. But then I think it plays more into the idea that the Canucks should probably just hang on to him or hang on to him and build up his trade value a little, which is what they are doing tonight with him playing with Elias Pettersson. That's exactly what they should be doing. You shouldn't tank a guy's trade value and then just sell him off as soon as his trade value is at 0. And that's what we've seen so much from the Canucks in the years past, right? Like sell high. It's like so simple. And again, like people were joking with me when I was talking about this. They're saying, well, what's going to happen? He's going to They're going to do that, get his trade value up, and then they're going to sign him to an extension.
No, because here's
no, they won't actually. It's a joke.
I got to get back to you on what you're saying, because here's the other thing. Then okay, then trade Brock Boeser for a 3rd round pick to whoever,
Sure.
right? And then now you have the cap space. Trade for Josh Bailey and get a first plus.
Sure.
Because he's got.
Now you're
that's what
creative.
I'm saying. So like
sure.
so you need to balance what you're doing with the cap space more than anything in a trade in today's NHL.
Yep.
And that's what you should be doing with these trades. If you're taking money back, it has to be big value. Because if the Canucks just move Brock Boeser for a Hornquist or a Bailey or Craig Smith's the other name I'm going to bring up in a minute here, if you're just moving Brock Boeser for that and just to like give him like just to get a little bit of a return, you're making a horrible mistake. You're making a horrible mistake moving it, unless Brock is just so uncomfortable in Vancouver that he has made it clear to his agent, which he has not. We've not heard anything about this. That's the only situation where this would make sense. If the player is just incredibly uncomfortable with Vancouver and needs a change of scenery that bad, which I don't think we're at that point yet.
No, I don't think so.
I think if you end like this, the value that you're doing, if it's money in, money out, which seems to be the way that this trade has to go down to get Brock Boeser to be traded, because not a lot of teams could just take on $6 million. It's not like the Arizona Coyotes are going to start making a push this season, or the Senators feel like, sorry, Alex, but I don't think the Senators are making a big push and adding Brock Boeser to be the final piece. Actually, maybe they are. I don't know. Sens are a weird team too. But like with money in, money out, the trade value is it needs to be different, because if you're just taking money in for another team getting a chance to put money out, there's so much value there. And that is the way that the trades are evolving in the NHL. And you need to be on the right side of the way that the evolution is happening. Because if you're just thinking old time trades of a player coming in and a player coming out just so that they can balance their book, you're doing a team a favor doing this. Like, it would be ridiculous to not have a good return with money coming back.
Yep, absolutely. No,
let me get the final name in too. I mentioned it, Craig Smith from the Bruins, because I think the Bruins are going to be buyers as well. They're probably going to like to get off the Craig Smith's $3.1 million. He's only played in 12 games this season. He's battled a shoulder injury. He's back and healthy now, but in those 12 games, he's averaging under 10 minutes ice time. He's making $3.1 million. No trade protection. Final year of his deal. He's battled the shoulder injury. Like I said, Boston's going to want to get off the books for that. But like, that's why I look at these teams. Like, I look at the Islanders, Florida, and Bruins, and I see these players that stuck out to me, really stuck out as like, if you're moving Horvat at the deadline, or you're moving Horvat in the next couple months here, or Boeser, look at these 3 teams, look at those players, and look at getting a big haul back for the trade market. All 3 of those teams: Boston, New York Islanders, and Florida. I know the Islanders haven't had a good start to the season, but they think they're in win now mode. Florida and Boston, look at those 2 teams, look at those 2 players, and get yourself a massive haul back, because they need help up front. Both those teams need something to help boost their offense a little bit.